People are going to seek to get lean and mean in their organizations. They're going to get rid of those who aren't contributing. I think that's going to happen. Hey, it's Dr. Phil. Welcome back to the Dr. Phil podcast. And once again, you're the star. I'm talking about you. This may be challenging, maybe disturbing. I don't know. I'm going to talk to you about meritocracy today, and I'm going to visit upon you some real truths, some hard truths. And I'm going to be talking about meritocracy. Now, this is something that you've heard me talk about a lot. You've heard a lot of people talk about a lot. It probably seems like an abstract idea, and I don't want it to be. And I don't want you to think, I don't want to hear about meritocracy. That's just something people talk about. It's an ideology. No, it's not. This has specifically to do with you and making your life work better for you between now and the end of this year, and for your children and your grandchildren. I want to be your friend at the factory. I want to give you some specific things to make your life and your world better. And I know how to do this, if I do say so myself. So I'm not going to give you a bunch of ideas and theories and ideologies. I'm going to talk to you about some things that you can do that are going to change your walk through this world. This isn't abstract ideas. Abstract ideas are concepts or thoughts that are really not concrete or tangible. They're representing qualities like emotions or states of beings that exist in the mind, but they lack physical presence. Things like love, freedom, justice, honesty, bravery, morality. We all know what those things mean, but they're not really concrete. And when I'm talking about meritocracy, I mean it in a much more concrete, tangible sense. I'm talking about making a contribution when you go to your job or anywhere in your life. Talent, needed skills, hard work, measurable results. Those who make that kind of contribution are rewarded and should be rewarded. If you make big contributions, you should get bigger rewards. Let's have a reality check here. And let me say, I'm not imposing this reality. I just study cultural trends and patterns, and I see things coming. If you were standing in the middle of the road or you were walking down a road and I could see coming up behind you a big semi-trailer truck, and I could see the guy was asleep at the wheel and he was swerving off towards you, would you want me to tell you? Would you want me to say, hey, get out of the way, there's a truck coming up behind you? Of course you would. If it was coming at your children or your grandchildren and I saw it, you would want me to tell you. That's how strongly I feel about what we're talking about today. There are some things that are really changing right now. You may not want to hear it, but they are. DEI, dead. Entitlements, a lot of these things are going to be cut right now. Do you know there are over 200 entitlement programs right now? And they are going to be highly scrutinized, and deep cuts of non-essential programs are going to be made. They're going to be cut. Now, let me say, I don't think everything should be cut. I think the measure of any great society is a function of how well we as a society take care of our elderly people and of our children. Go to the two ends of the spectrum, the two ends of the continuum. How well we are, how moral of a society we are, is how well we take care of our old people and our young people. I certainly have a big microphone, and if we start doing things where we're not taking care of our young and our old, those that can't take care of themselves necessarily, the infirm, I'm going to be raising all kinds of hell. But some of these others are going to be scrutinized and they're going to be cut. Now, again, I'm not telling you I'm the one making those decisions. I'm just telling you I know what they are. I talk to the people making those decisions on a pretty regular basis, from the president on down. People say, all the billionaires in this country. Well, I'm certainly not one of those, but I know a lot of them, and they're not affecting my life or yours. It's easy to complain about them. I'll complain with you. We'll all get together sometime and just kick ass on these billionaires. But it doesn't make a lot of difference to you and me. The problem in this country is not income inequality. It's income equality. It has been. You know, in the bottom 20% of the income strata of this country, in terms of those that earn the bottom 20%, compared to those in the middle 20%, when you add in all the entitlements and tax breaks and all that, how much they wind up with at the end of the day is pretty darn similar. And that's when I say the problem here is not inequality, but equality. Because those in the bottom 20%, like 95% of them don't work full time. And those in the middle 20%, like more than 80% of them work full time. But yet at the end of the year, when you compare how much actual buying power they had, it's pretty similar. Because all those entitlement programs bring these guys up to where these guys are, even though 95% of them aren't working. That's a problem. That won't survive. Not in this day and time. The focus is going to be on those who contribute, those who are adding value. They're bringing talent and skills. And in the current situation, when we are seeing an emphasis on capitalism, competition, and focus on merit, instead of getting something because you're entitled to it because of the color of your skin or your ethnic background or who your parents are, that is legacy. Figuring out what you bring to the table, what you bring to the game, what your role and contribution is, seems like a really good place to put your focus. You noticed I talked about legacy, like who your parents are. That doesn't have anything to do with the color of your skin or your ethnicity, but there are an awful lot of people, for example, that get into college because of who their parents are. Like if they're a so-and-so the third or fourth, or their parents went to that college or something, they get in independent of their qualifications. That ain't going to float any more than getting in because you're a minority or whatever. That doesn't make any more sense. That's crazy. I don't want somebody operating on my brain because their parents gave a lot of money to the school. No, thank you. I'd rather have somebody that worked really hard and did well in brain class, anatomy and physiology. I mean, I want merit. I want somebody that earned it. Like right now, there's a lot of conversation about this DOGE program, the Department of Government Efficiency. There's a major focus to eliminate waste, fraud, and abuse in the government. Now, everybody's been talking about that for a long time, right? However many presidents you want to go back, every administration has talked about, let's quit wasting money. Let's get rid of waste. Let's get rid of fraud, programs that don't really do anything. Let's get rid of abuse. And everybody agreed. Everybody's agreed. This time, there's an administration that actually said, let's get intentional about it. And most of Americans agree. Now, we've got some extremists. We've got some people that are crying about it. And they're saying, oh, no, we don't want to do that. Well, wait a minute. I thought you did. We've all agreed with that for decades, administration after administration. But then when they actually start doing it and they realize, oh, wait a minute, you're cutting a program I like. Like my grandma used to say when the preacher got too close to something she cared about, she said, oh, you quit preaching and gone to meddling now. You're meddling in my life now. You need to back off. That's what a lot of people are saying. I was all about cutting this waste, fraud, and abuse until you started cutting things from my state, my city that mattered to me. Well, that's just the way it's going to be. It's going to be kind of painful for everybody at some level. By the way, they're going to make mistakes. They've already made mistakes. They've cut some programs that they shouldn't have cut. They've cut some of those, like I was saying before, where it affected the elderly or it affected the young people. Maybe a meal program or something to feed the kids. And when they make a mistake, they need to admit it, and they need to immediately reinstitute that program. And I'm going to be watching. It ain't all up to me, but you can bet I'm going to be hollering when they do. The IRS is the largest collection agency, with April 15th fast approaching. It's more aggressive than ever. If you owe back taxes or have unfiled returns, waiting's not an option. The smart move is to get ahead of this. Listen, never contact the IRS alone. Let the experts at Tax Network USA handle it for you. Tax Network USA has a preferred direct line to the IRS. Now, whether you owe $10,000 or $10 million, Tax Network USA's attorneys and negotiators have already resolved over $1 billion in tax debt. Talk with one of their strategists today. It's free. Call 1-800-958-1000 or visit tnusa.com/Dr. Phil. That's tnusa.com/Dr. Phil. April 15th is just around the corner. Act now. But here's my point. Beyond government, it is not a huge leap to consider that this is going to spill over into private enterprise as well, where those who are competing for profits are going to react to the fact that the government is starting to say, let's ask hard questions about what we really need versus what we're just carrying because that's the way it's always been done. And that's what's happened to government, right? We've got programs. I think there are programs that nobody even really knows where the money's going or what that agency does. It's just like, this has always been part of the budget. Nobody really knows what it is. Just send that $400 million down there. Send that $1 billion over there. Are you kidding me? Look, old sayings get to be old sayings because they're profound. Think about it. Think about some of the examples of old sayings such as stitch in time saves nine. What's that mean? It means slow down. Just slow down. You don't want to go kill a bunch of people because you're racing. A penny saved is a penny earned. It's not what you make, it's what you keep. Don't cry over spilled milk. Remember that one? Blood is thicker than water. Family's going to hang together. Or bury the hatchet. That was a good one. Look, don't carry grudges. Just bury the hatchet. You're barking up the wrong tree. That means you're chasing the wrong thing. Every cloud has a silver lining. That was a good one, right? Every cloud has a silver lining. No matter how dark something seems, try to find some positive in there. Maybe you lost your job, but is there something in there that it opens up a new horizon for you? They close the door, they open a window. We all have all of these old sayings. Pull out all the stops. The early bird catches the worm. If wishes were horses, beggars would ride. These things stick around because they're filled with wisdom. They just hold true generation after generation. But then there are some things that just carry forward out of habit. There's no real reason for them. They just kind of stick around. And when you hear somebody explain something and the reason for it is, well, just because. That's just the way we've always done it. When you ask somebody why they're doing something and the best answer they have is, well, just because, that's a problem. That's a real problem. And I'm just telling you, in terms of cultural patterns, pendulums tend to swing. When you see things swinging in a direction where people aren't really asking questions, they're just kind of going along. Organizations get fat and the government gets fat and there's a lot of waste and people aren't checking for fraud. They're not checking for waste and abuse. And then all of a sudden they start. It's time you need to start checking your whole card and ask, is your job essential? I don't know if you remember Gary Larson. He used to write one of my favorite cartoons ever called Far Side. I thought he was a genius. I remember one of the cartoons there were two cows standing out in the field, and there was a rancher coming through the gate in the distance, and he had a rifle with him. And that one cow looked at the other and said, "What do you think farmer's coming down here for?" And he said, "I don't know, but I'd wipe that foam from around your mouth." Point was, they were having hoof and mouth disease, and he said, "I don't know what he's coming down here for, but I'd wipe that foam from around your mouth if I were you." And I thought about that when I was watching all this fraud and waste, fraud, and abuse. A lot of people need to be wiping the foam off their mouth right now, because there's people coming around looking to see if this job matters, if this is really needed. And I'm telling you, I think it's getting ready to start happening in the private sector too. People are going to say, do we really need all these people? Is this job essential? And I'm going to tell you the antidote to that. And the antidote to some other things that are getting ready to happen, which I'm going to tell you in a few minutes. And here's the antidote. The antidote are two words you probably haven't heard put together before. The antidote is consequential knowledge. Consequential knowledge. What's consequential mean? It means it matters. It's consequential. It matters. Consequential knowledge is something that you're mastering or have mastered that the rest of the world perceives to constitute added value to the world, at least to their world. As a result, it's something they are willing to pay you for. And I don't necessarily mean pay you in dollars and cents. I mean pay you in whatever form of currency you value. Consequential knowledge is something you have to offer that the world wants and is willing to reward you for. But that's not only the set of rewards consequential knowledge brings or provides. When you observe you doing whatever embodies your consequential knowledge, and when you experience the world rewarding you for it, it also helps you feel good about yourself because you recognize you're a contributing member of society. It's that set of transactions that can cause you to attribute to yourself mastery over that domain, whatever it is you're working in. You might say things to yourself like, these people, this company, this community need me. Without me, without what I bring to the group, something would be missing. I would be missed. I matter. In this way, consequential knowledge contributes to building rock-solid self-esteem, rock-solid self-worth. And more likely than not, consequential knowledge also results in monetary reward. So let's stop here and think about what I've just said. The antidote to people coming around your company and saying, okay, we're going to get rid of things we don't need. We're going to get rid of jobs that don't matter. Your best protection against that is making sure that you're adding value, that you have a talent they can't do without, that you're creating worth, that if you weren't there, you would be missed. I have a office manager, executive assistant, secretary, whatever you want to call it. She has been with me for 45 years. And let me tell you, you talk about consequential knowledge. If she gets kidnapped, run off, just disappears, oh my Lord, I don't know what I would do. You talk about consequential knowledge. She is like the Wizard of Oz. She knows everything about everything. She has accounting knowledge. She has relationship knowledge. She has tax knowledge. She has record-keeping knowledge. She has in her head so much stuff. I would probably shrivel up and blow away if something happened to her. She is so valuable. You talk about consequential knowledge. You could not replace her in 5 years of training somebody. Could not live without her. Don't want to live without her. She's the best. That's who you want to be. You want to be somebody that when they look around and say, all right, who can we live without? They look at you and say, not him, not her, cannot live without them. They have so much consequential knowledge that that's a must-have right there. I'll drive a crummier car, I'll walk to work, but I'm not going to live without this person. My challenge to you is, do you know what that is? Do you know what your special consequential knowledge is? It's not about being loyal. My dog's loyal. I would trust my dog with my life, but not my sandwich. I mean, really, the dog would fight to the death to protect me, but I wouldn't trust her with my sandwich. It's got to be specialized. Life is full of surprises, and emergencies often strike when we least expect them. But preparation is key, and that's where Jace Case comes in. With Jace Case, you'll have essential emergency prescription medications right at your fingertips, ready when you need them most. Whether it's an unexpected illness or a travel mishap, having the right meds on hand can turn a potential crisis into just a minor inconvenience. Don't let the unexpected catch you off guard. Jace Case gives you peace of mind so you can tackle life surprises with confidence. Be ready. Take charge today. Head over to jace.com. That's JASE.com. And when you check out, use the code PHIL, spelled PHIL, to get a discount on your order and to have the right meds on hand the moment you need them. The world is changing and you need to change with it. Like, here's a reality check. Right now, we have 3.3 million long-haul truck drivers in this country. That's an estimation, of course. But the projections are that very soon we're going to have 500,000 automated long-haul truckers. No drivers in the truck. Now think about the impact that has. The trickle-down effect. Well, first off, these long-haul drivers, they won't be subject to restrictions on how many hours they can drive, of course, right? They don't get sleepy. So 500,000 of them can maybe replace the number of hours driven on the road. They can replace maybe 1 million to 1.5 million drivers. They don't buy boots. They don't buy gloves. They don't eat at diners, so they don't take rest stops. If I'm a long-haul truck driver right now, I'd be thinking, whoa, wait a minute. Automation could be coming after almost half of our jobs. Think about call centers. I was reading some research recently about call centers, and that industry believes they can save $80 billion with AI. So if you work in a call center, they're estimating they can save $80 billion by using automated AI, where it's not so annoying that people won't respond, but just by using artificial intelligence. In fact, the projections are that there could be as many as 73 million jobs eliminated in the next 5 years by artificial intelligence. What's the antidote to you being among that 73 million? Consequential knowledge. You need to have a skill that can't be replaced by a robot or a job that they can't replace you by noon. Now, if you work in a fast food joint and that is honest work, I've done it. I was a car hop at A&W Root Beer. I was pretty good till they put us on skates. There's still hamburgers rolling down May Avenue in Oklahoma City. I just wasn't good on skates. But if you're doing fries at McDonald's, sorry, but they can replace you by noon tomorrow. That skill set, while it's honest work and it's a good place to work, you are replaceable. They can probably train up your replacement in a matter of hours. So you don't have consequential knowledge. They can replace you in short order. You need to choose a vertical. Being a jack of all trades, I'm not sure that's a good idea these days. You need to choose a vertical, one area where you vertically develop. Maybe it's a copier repair person, a computer repair person, or a great field in the future are some of the blue-collar jobs like carpentry, plumber, electrician, and I'll tell you why. Because the baby boomers, of which I am one, who have been doing those jobs and making a lot of money doing it, are aging out. The millennials and Gen Z that are coming up haven't really taken to those jobs very well. They're not really interested in doing those jobs. And as a result, it's projected that we're going to have hundreds of thousands of vacancies across those professions in the coming few years. So you have a problem at your house with plumbing, or you blow a fuse, or you have a wire in the wall that goes bad, it's going to be hard to get that fixed because we're going to be short several 100,000 people in those professions because it seems like nobody wants to do those jobs. And it's going to be hard for robots to do those jobs because they're not repetitive. And you've got to be able to get there and interact with the customer and assess the situation. So heating and air conditioning, all of these sorts of professions are going to be really hurting. Patient care, first responders, lots of these professions that are going to be very difficult for robots to replace. AI can enhance but can't replace. It's going to be very, very difficult. So the question becomes, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? How are you going to develop in your area? Because this idea that has been pushed recently about everybody's going to have an equal outcome, well, that's just simply not something that is going to be focused on in the years that lie ahead of you. Unless that outcome is everybody being hungry, hopeless, and homeless, is that it? Is that what everybody wants to have as an equal outcome? I think the only way people want an equal outcome is if that outcome is a good one. And my point to you is that you, no matter what you do, whether you work for a big company or you don't, is that you are in business for yourself. You are the CEO of you. You're your own life manager. And the question is twofold. Do you believe in your ability to adapt and succeed? And do you know what your consequential knowledge is? What do you bring that's unique to your situation? It may not be what you think it is. And you may think, well, I'm dependable and I'm loyal. You need to stop and think, is that unique? If it is, you're in a real bad company. But look around. Are there other people that are that way? What is your unique contribution? And if you can't identify it, that needs to go to the top of your priority list. I said it's the antidote to your company coming around and doging themselves and saying, I'm going to look for waste, fraud, and abuse. And if they do that, if they come around and say, well, I'm going to make a 20% reduction in the workforce here, don't be vulnerable. Be someone that they look and say, hey, I'm looking at her, I'm looking at him, and he's like Dr. Phil feels about his executive assistant, his office manager, his business manager. He said, my gosh, he cannot live without her. That's how I want them feeling about me, that I am so good at solving customer complaints. I'm so good at handling our troubleshooting or being the face of this company or leading the troops in our department. They just do not want to do without me. I'm the best coder, or I'm the best painter, or I'm the best whatever. They'd be fools to even consider doing this without me. Find out what that consequential knowledge is. There are people in law firms that are rainmakers. They're the ones that bring in the business. The firm couldn't do without them. I have restaurants that I go to where the host or hostess out front just makes the place. What is it, Cheers, where people want to go where everybody knows their name. And maybe that's it. Great personality. You're the face of the organization. Whatever it is, identify that consequential knowledge. Don't be taken out by somebody that comes in and says we're streamlining our organization, getting rid of everybody that's not essential. And make sure you see coming AI. I've had to think about that. I don't make a product. I don't have a bridge that's done when I finish my work year. I can't point to, see that bridge over there? I worked on that. Or see this table everybody's eating at? I built that. I work with my mind. I've been trained in the science of psychology, and we have tools. We have psychometrics that when I was in practice, I used them to evaluate people, and we have evidence-based therapies and treatments and that sort of thing. But I show up and people pay me to think and analyze. Robin's joked that she wished I'd wear a helmet around because if she said, somebody hit you in the head, you're in a lot of trouble. We're in a lot of trouble. And I think that I have consequential knowledge and communication skills and all, but I've had to evolve because the world has evolved. I've had to school myself on social media and cyber realities. When I started Dr. Phil originally, there was no such thing as cyber bullying. The word cyber existed, the word bully existed, but like I said, you may not have heard consequential and knowledge used together in a sentence. I'd never used cyber and bullying in a sentence. They were put together now. Cyberbullying became a real thing with kids getting bullied on the internet and on social media platforms. So I had to evolve. If I wanted to remain consequential to American society, I had to evolve and adapt and gain expertise in the internet and how it was being used socially. That's what I'm saying to you. So you have to figure out, how can I remain relevant? How can I remain in such a way that my knowledge is consequential so I don't get eliminated by AI, so I don't get caught up in a reduction of force from them coming through and doing a doge on our company. I don't want to get caught up in waste, fraud, or abuse, not because I've done something wrong, but just because they think we don't need this anymore. And you've got to believe in yourself. I saw a story the other day, and I talked about it on a news thing that I do. And I was talking about Buffalo Bills quarterback and NFL MVP Josh Allen. Now, I don't know if you follow football, but this isn't about football, so don't tune out if you're not a football fan, because this is about an individual. But Josh Allen is the quarterback of the Buffalo Bills, and he just signed a 6-year, $330 million contract. Do you know why? Because he's consequential. He brings value. He has talent. And that's not really my point. He is the poster child for meritocracy, but it's really about, did he believe in himself? Let me tell you a little about him. He went to Firebaugh High School. Now, that's just a very small farming community in the San Joaquin Valley in California. And when he came out of that high school, he was a good quarterback, but it was a tiny little school. He had no interest from any colleges. He wanted to go on and play at the next level, but he sent out, and I mean this literally, hundreds of letters and highlight tapes to four-year schools, Division I schools. He sent them to USC, UCLA, University of Miami. He sent them everywhere, hundreds of them. You know how many responses he got back? 0. Now, that's a blow to your self-esteem. I mean, come on, you're 18 years old. You've played at a small school, but you were good. You played at a small school. That's a blow to your ego. But it didn't stop him. He said, okay, I don't have to leap tall buildings in a single bound. So he just enrolled at a junior college, local. Same thing happened. He played there for a couple of years, and it was recruiting time all over again. So he sent out again hundreds of letters, hundreds of videos to all of these schools because he had a couple of good years at this junior college. It's bigger than his high school, but it's still just a little two-year college. Know how many responses he got this time? Well, it wasn't 0. He got 1. The University of Wyoming. They did send him something and said, okay, tell you what, kid, we'll give you a shot. We'll give you a shot. We'll let you come here and play. And I'd like to say the rest is history, but the bumps in the road weren't through. He played for the University of Wyoming. He got a start his junior year, which would be his first year there. He threw 4 passes, got hit, and broke his collarbone. Got hit and broke his collarbone. Had to sit out the entire year. So he comes out of high school, nobody wants him. He goes to a junior college, plays 1 year, plays a second year, finally gets a shot at a Division I college, throws 4 passes, gets knocked out for the entire rest of the season. You know, at some point you just start saying, you know what? If the door won't open, maybe it just ain't your door. But no, he says, I'm going to rehab and rehab hard. And he comes back. Now he's only got 1 year left. And so he does it. And in that year, he throws for 3,200 yards and 28 touchdowns. So he gets drafted. I think he went like 7th, something like that, and gets his shot. Then when he gets this massive contract, somebody asked him, wow, that's a lot of money. Why didn't you demand more to become the highest paid contract? You're so close. I mean, Mahomes with the Chiefs is the highest, but you're bumping right up against that. Why didn't you push for just a little bit more and become the highest paid quarterback in the history of the NFL? And you know what he said? He said, and I quote, I don't need any more. If I can't live on what they're paying me, something is very wrong. Now, here's my point. Clearly, he worked his way up. He added value. He vertically developed and all. Clearly, he did that. But he had the second element. He worked really hard. He believed in himself, and he earned every single thing he got. He never, ever gave up. And I don't know where you find yourself at this point. I don't know where you are in your career. But I know this. You've got to be your biggest fan. You've got to not be paralyzed with fear and say, oh man, I wish I hadn't heard this. And I'll tell you why. You can't unhear it. Now that you've heard me say this and told you that we are in a meritocracy. We are in a capitalist competitive scenario. And I truly believe the social pattern is that what we're seeing in government right now is going to really sweep through the private sector. People are going to seek to get lean and mean in their organizations. They're going to get rid of those who aren't contributing. I think people are going to come through and give out mandates that say cut the bottom 20% of this organization. Start from the bottom up in every organizational chart. I want you to go into every department, cut the bottom 20%, and we're going to see how we can do. I think that's going to happen. I'm reading it in the journals. I'm seeing it in the cards, and I'm telling you, I think they're going to be cutting the bottom 20%. You don't want to be there. You've got to decide, how can I make myself consequential to my company? And to do that, you have to believe in yourself. You have to market yourself, sell yourself, and you have to deliver. Now, Josh Allen could have quit when nobody wanted him. Not one person in the country, not one recruiter at one university. But he said, no, I believe in myself. I'm going to keep coming. So he went to an interim level, and he kept coming. He got one chance. And now he's making over $50 million a year. He was the first quarterback in Buffalo Bills history to lead the team in both passing and rushing in the same season, and that is hard to do. Now, I've never been a Buffalo Bills fan, but I'm a Josh Allen fan. I am inspired by what he does and how he does it. Be inspired by who you are. Figure out what is special about you and what you bring to that organization. And don't be shy about letting people know what it is. Don't be the best kept secret in your company. Let people know how pivotal you are to the success of that organization. You're managing you. Be good at it. Be good at managing you. And don't let it be smoke and mirrors. Truly be consequential. And think about the changing world. Don't be a casualty of AI. Put yourself in a position that you can't be replaced by Ricky Robot. You can't be replaced by AI. I'm wanting you to tune in and listen to me because I want to tell you information you can use. I want to give you things that make your life better every day. I don't give a darn about politics. What I care about is culture and the quality of your life. And if anything I tell you won't withstand challenge, throw it out. Throw it out. But if I can make you think, if I can give you food for thought, then, I don't know, I think this was worth our having a conversation. Let me know what you think. And if you have questions you want me to answer, send them in, and I'll do my best to get to them and answer them as part of this podcast. You and I are going to be talking a lot because I've been getting a lot of requests. And so I'm going to be coming at you. Thanks for spending this time with me today. I'll be talking to you real soon, and it will be about you and your life. Thanks for coming to the Dr. Phil Podcast. See you next time.